If the Vietnamese people have fish sauce, the Japanese have miso, and the Koreans have kimchi, then the Europeans have the flavor of smoke. From the slices of meat in a morning breakfast to Scotch whiskey smoked salmon and grilled cheese, everything carries the scent of smoke. And is this similar to the cuisine of Vietnam's northwest region? This type of cuisine sounds very elaborate, but its roots actually stem from a very basic primal need: how to keep food from spoiling. Today, Europe is modern and clean, of course. Every home has a refrigerator, and has had one for a long time. But if you go back thousands of years, before electricity, before refrigerators, before freezers, the biggest problem for Europeans was how to preserve meat and fish through the winter. Europe has a temperate climate. Many places are even bitterly cold year-round. Winters are long, covered in thick snow, trees are bare, wild animals are scarce, and fish are frozen solid in the rivers. To survive, people had to store food from the summer and autumn. Fresh meat, however, would start to smell quickly. So people had to find a natural solution: hanging the meat over a fire. The smoke from burning wood not only dries the surface, but also contains natural compounds that are antibacterial, anti-mold, and germicidal. The surprising result was that the meat lasted longer and gained a very distinct aroma. Thus, an invention for survival, or perhaps an accidental one, became the foundation of an entire European culinary culture. Initially, smoking was just a method of preservation. But gradually, Europeans realized that the smell of smoke, the scent of burning wood, that pungent, slightly spicy, lingering aroma was surprisingly delicious. When they ate it, the meat had a salty, sweet, and fragrant taste, with a slightly dry and chewy texture, and they became addicted to the smell without even realizing it. Particularly in the Nordic regions like Norway, Finland, Sweden, and Iceland, they live close to the sea, so in addition to meat, they also smoke fish. Salmon, herring, cod, all were hung over burning pine or oak wood to let the smoke wrap around them. Thanks to this, they could save fish for a long winter and still eat it. In Asia, smoke is often considered an old kitchen smell. But in Europe, it's regarded as the flavor of the aristocracy. Not everyone had a kitchen with plenty of firewood, and even fewer knew how to smoke meat well. Smoke too little and it's not flavorful. Smoke too much and it's bitter. Thus, old European families considered the smokehouse a valuable asset, no different from a stable of horses. From the 17th century, as trade developed, aristocratic chefs began using smoke to create unique flavors. Not just meat, but also cheese, butter, salt, and even wine were smoked. In Scotland, smoke is also used to malt barley for whiskey. If you've ever drunk Scotch and noticed a pungent, spicy, smoky smell like burning wood or damp earth, that is the flavor of peat. This characteristic taste is the result of a tradition dating back hundreds of years in the cold, damp lands of Scotland. Here, people didn't have much wood to burn, but they had a lot of peat. Peat burns slowly, emitting a thick, distinctive smoke with a unique aroma, both sweet and intense, with a slight hint of moss, earth, and sea salt. They had to dry the barley with the smoke from peat. The result is that the whiskey produced has a very clear, smoky flavor, spicy with a sweet finish and a depth that connoisseurs highly appreciate. In other words, smoke has become a core part of the European palate. Ancient Europeans didn't just smoke, they also combined smoke with salt. Salt draws out water and kills bacteria. Smoke creates aroma and a protective layer. These two elements together created hundreds of classic dishes like bacon, ham, and especially smoked salmon. Over hundreds of years, this technique became the foundation of European cuisine. The smell we recognize in German sausages or American bacon is a legacy from their ancestors from a time before refrigerators. The interesting thing is that when the refrigerator was invented, Europeans didn't abandon smoked foods. Instead, they came to see it as a symbol of traditional culture. Smoke, once a means of survival, has become the art of flavor. Looking further, we see that Europeans have a special connection to fire. In a cold climate, fire was used for cooking, heating, lighting, and gathering. The smell of smoke permeated their hair, clothes, and food, gradually becoming a smell of culture, memory, and history. Today, smoke is no longer just a preservation method, but a high-end delicacy. Michelin-starred restaurants still use modern smoking techniques to infuse flavor into meat, fish, and even cocktails. In the United States, slow-smoked barbecue over many hours is elevated into a culinary genre. The longer and smokier, the better, because smoke not only cooks but also tells the story of the fire. In the northern mountains of Vietnam, especially in the northwest region, the story is nearly identical. The Thai, Hmong, Dao, and Tay ethnic groups live in cold, humid areas and cannot have fresh meat every day. They also came up with the method of hanging meat, fish, buffalo, beef, and pork over their hearths. The moderate heat, constant smoke, combined with the cold, dry mountain air helps the meat firm up, cook slowly, and give off the aroma of smoke mixed with fat. This method creates specialties like smoked buffalo meat, smoked pork, and dried streamfish, dishes rich with the scent of mountain smoke. The most interesting similarity is that both cultures regard smoke as a crucial element. In Europe, people carefully select the type of wood. In the Vietnamese mountains, people typically use smoke from bamboo or dried corn stalks. The smoke in a stilt house kitchen always blends the scent of burning fat, corn, and forest leaves, creating a very characteristic rustic aroma. The main difference lies in the degree of industrialization. In Europe, smoking has been standardized in factories with specialized kilns creating uniform products. In contrast, in the mountains of Vietnam, hanging over the hearth is a natural process. Each house has its own distinct aroma. The hearth-smoked meat of the Hmong people in Sapa will differ from the hearth-smoked meat of the Thai ethnic group in Lai Chau. Each place has its own unique version of smoke. In summary, despite being thousands of miles apart, both the Western smoked meat and the hearth-smoked meat in Vietnam are products of the same instinct for survival and creativity. Both prove that people everywhere know how to turn hardship into deliciousness, differing only in the type of fuel they burn and the story they tell around the fire. Thank you for your interest in this story. Goodbye.